some traditional leaderships in South Africa's former homelands are in crisis. The recommendations of a commission established to install the rightful leadership undermined by the apartheid regime have led to bitter disputes and costly legal battles.
We have about 12 High Court cases that are still pending in our courts of law. Our work is a very difficult one, very, very difficult, because one case can take many years.
One of the affected communities is situated at Mabaloka outside Brits in the former Bophuthatswana homeland, where two factions, the Tsashwa and the Lion families, are fighting over the chieftaincy.
The recommendation of the commission was that, according to the official record, the first chief of Mabaloka is John Tsashwa. Then that means a Lion, he needs to be removed immediately.
If the court makes a rule which is not in our favor, we will not accept it, but because it will not be a fair ruling, because the documents are clear.
Years of infighting in the leadership of this community has divided the people, affecting service delivery. At a conference late last year, the Congress of Traditional Leaders vowed to withdraw their support for the ANC and form their own political organization that will restore and reclaim traditional leaders' powers in society. In Mabaloka outside Brits, the Tsashwa royal family is in a celebratory mood. In a recent legal battle, the court has upheld the findings of the Commission for Traditional Leadership Disputes and Claims, which declared in July 2013 that the Tsashwas were the rightful traditional leaders of this nation.
What happened immediately after Chief Tsashwa was installed by the commission, then the Lions make a review case. In that review, the judgment was that Lion, he is the rightful heir or the rightful headman.
And then you appealed?
What happened that we make an appeal based on that judgment. The judgment on the appeal, it was upheld. That means it was in favor of Tsashwa. What I've said is that we have to go to a full bench based on our leave to appeal. So we went to the appeal on the 26th of August. On the 26th of August, we went there for trial. Then on the 2nd of December, we get a judgment where the judgment said Tsashwa is the rightful chief of Mabaloka.
At the end of apartheid, the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs were tasked to establish a commission that would restore the dignity of traditional leadership, which had been eroded and undermined by the former regime when it created their own traditional leadership to entrench the controversial homeland system.
This commission is a successor in law of the previous commission. So all claims and disputes that were lodged with the previous Nklapo commission are deemed to have been lodged with the current commission. So the difference between the then commission and this one is that this one makes recommendation.
According to the Lion family, the traditional leadership in Mabaloka dates back to the 1940s, when the first chief, Edward Lion, and his people migrated north from Lesotho to the then Union of South Africa.
As Africans in the past, we know we lived a nomadic type of life. So we left Lesotho and Edward Lyon by then, and as we was moving around, we ended up first in the Orange Free State and ultimately in Valmazal here in Pretoria. But now, because these people were growing in numbers, they decided to buy Mabaloka.
Edward Lyon was then banished for allegedly being involved in politics. This is when their relatives, the Tsajwas, were installed as the traditional leadership in the village.
Tsajwa is a relative to Lion, and but the feud that this came here didn't start in 2013 when the commission, but long before. It started during the apartheid regime, when the Lion himself was very active in politics. In 1953, he was deported to Mount Fletcher. Then the then regime imposed Tsajwa over this community.
In 1977, the apartheid government established the Republic of Bophuthatswana under President Lucas Mangope, whose government was one of 10 Bantustans, a repressive regime that divided Africans along ethnic lines.
In the homeland setup, traditional leaders were mostly used, or traditional councils were mostly used as local government at the time. They will contribute in the development of the area. For instance, they will call for the community to contribute X amount of money to build a clinic, and government will contribute the same. They normally call it rent-to-rent basis. You take out a 1 rand and government take out a 1 rand, then together you build that particular project that you want.
Mohau Lions served under Lucas Mangope in the Bophuthatswana parliament. The homeland system was severely criticized and got little recognition outside South Africa. But despite the controversy, the Lion family says they were better off back then.
Under Bophuthatswana, we had the clinics which was running for 24 hours, 7 days a week, 366 days a week. Under Bophuthatswana regime, we had a post office right in this area of the tribal offices. We also had a sub-police station. But presently, the clinic is now working 8 hours a day and only for 5 days, not working on the weekend. The police station was taken away. There is no longer post office here. That's what we presently. And during Bophuthatswana, even though water was very far from the communities or the household, but there was water. Today, there's no water in Mabaloka.
Probably we should ask the question, is the ICC targeting African leaders?
For the life of me, I would hate to be charged with crimes against humanity. Very few people can deny nor ignore that there are crimes being committed on the African continent at this very moment. Now, we need to be able to hold people to account regardless of where they are from.
South Africa has a body of international law that it's committed itself to, that seeks to counter impunity in the world when it comes to gross human rights violations. In this specific instance, we have a problem. By the way, you must remember that South Africa has a law on extradition and mutual legal assistance that enable us to extradite any fugitive of justice from anywhere in the world so that they can stand trial for whatever crimes.
At the Patong Royal Kraal, community members put on a colorful display of traditional dances and culture. Despite having recently lost a court battle against Tsajwa Emmanuel Lyon takes the opportunity to defend his chieftaincy of the nation. Much uncertainty prevails in this community, but he assures the people that he is the rightful leader of Mabaloka.
Dintja tsa kwano taung mona di tangwe di dule fatshe le name maoto mona ke taung morena o mong fela marena ha mabedi borena bo a tswallwa borena ha bo voutelwe borena ke mpho e hlang ho modimo o tla ya hodimo o tla ya fatshe borena ha ise ba ha o keke wa bo fumana fela ha o batla morena wa hao a o voutela bo mokhanselara o tla o voutela go utlwa ke thabile haholo ho bona setjhaba sa Mabaloka se kopane se thabile ha mmoho le bana na sona.
The Lyon family says they will not give up the fight. They have just launched a fresh court appeal.
It all started as a review application which was brought by the Lyon family after being dissatisfied with the decision, or rather the recommendation, which was accepted by the Premier at the time, that suggested that the Lyon family should be disposed as the leadership. Now, a judgment of the court was issued, which judgment the other party was unhappy with. It was then taken to appeal. The appeal court has found, in a sense, in favor of the other party. Now, the matter is now taking another level because there are a number of levels of appeal. It may end up in the Constitutional Court.
The dispute arose soon after the death of Mohau David Lyon in 2008, the long-serving traditional leader of Mabaloka under the Mangope government in the homeland system.
We approached the Commission on Traditional Dispute and Claims based on the reason that my father, Philemon Tsajwa, was removed as chief from Bophuthatswana because of the earthwide of Bophuthatswana, because Mangope didn't want Chief Tsajwa.
The Commission's findings, released in July 2013, recommended that the Northwest Premier install the Tsajwa royal family as the traditional leadership in Mabaloka. It also concluded that Tsajwa was removed in 1978 for being against the repressive Mangope regime.
Tendi Modise, when after he had announced, in fact, he released a media statement. We were called there, I was there presently, when we were verbally informed that the Lion is no longer the rightful headman of this community with immediate effect, and now Tsajwa has been recognized. That was verbally delivered to the Nile, but we were not pleased about that. Hence, we tried to inform the then Premier. Could not listen to us. We were forced but to take the matter to the court, and that's how this matter landed in court. What the Commission did here, yes, indeed, it divided this community. This community is now divided. There are now two camps, the Tsajwa camp and the Lion camp.
According to the Commission, the traditional leadership of Mabaloka was established in 1961. However, the Lyon family argues it began way back in the 40s with its first chief, Edward Lyon.
The reason why there are so many disputes of traditional leadership in our country, my personal view is that because traditional leadership does not have documentary evidence, as it were, you would rely on what the community says, you would rely on a particular history, and if a particular history is not properly written down, then there will be a dispute. If there is lack of documentation that supports either of the party's position, it there will always be a dispute.
The mayor of Maribeng says for now, the Lion family is the recognized traditional authority in the village.
In Mabaloka, we have the group of Tajwa and the group of Lion. And of course, we believe that Kosi Lion was appointed was awarded as the chief. And he have a fully functional traditional authority. And we believe that the Kosi in Mabaloka, we are experiencing the challenges of the dispute in between, but we will always be patient and make sure that we support whoever is appointed as chief.
The infighting has created a leadership crisis affecting services to the people. The Solomon Lion Primary School wrote letters and approached the municipality requesting that a bridge be built to assist the kids to cross the river on their way to school. That was back in 2010, but nothing has been done.
In the rainy season is a problem. Kids cannot pass here. If they try to pass, the books fall inside the river and they go this side. There's another bridge that side is very far for the little kids, for the primary school.
Did you raise the issue with the traditional authority?
Yes, we did try to go to them, but they ignore everything what is happening here.
Why?
I don't know why.
There are also concerns about the working hours of the clinic, which is a problem in emergencies.
The challenges that we are facing from this place is that we travel many distance to get help. This clinic doesn't open on weekends, only on weekdays. People are getting accidents, too many of them are getting sick. If they come here, they find the log is locked. There is no help from this place.
And have you raised this with the leadership?
No, the leadership, we don't get help.
But the traditional authority says in the current structure of government, they don't have powers to provide any kind of services to the community.
The traditional leadership should play an active role in ensuring that there is development. But as I have said earlier, the traditional leadership, their hands are tied up by the new dispensation, which say development only lies squarely on the government of the day, which is the local government or the provincial or even the national. When the ANC got into power, we are all thinking that we'll get better services. But in the constitution itself, nothing is said much about traditional leaders except to say they are recognized.
Failure to implement the water restriction is going to make the system not workable. For the domestic use, everyone should not exceed 25 kiloliters per day.
What is the penalty and how much have you raked in thus far as a municipality?
For domestic users, if they exceed 25 kiloliters, then they're going to be charged a penalty on their monthly bill. And so far already we've collected 1.7 million.
The 200 million rand state-of-the-art school in Magaliesburg had been vandalized by drug addicts. How bad is it?
It's very bad. Into the hostel residents, it was even worse because there the doors, the wardrobes, the beds, the ceiling were broken down. Showers were ripped off and it couldn't be used by students who are actually using that particular boarding facility.
Yeah.
At the ANC-run Maribeng municipality, we wanted to find out what they have done to ensure better services to the people in Mabaloka. 3 months on, the newly elected Mayor Justina Mutibi said she had surprisingly not yet met with the traditional leadership despite the known challenges in the area.
No, we haven't met with them because there is court case on the table. We don't want to sour their relations. We want them to be together, but at the same time we need to be sensitive because this matter is sensitive. When two people are fighting and there is court in between them, you allow the law to take its course, then later you'll intervene. That's what we are looking at. Once there is a court case, we will definitely intervene to make sure that there is a good working relationship between them.
We wanted to know from Kokta what exactly is the role of traditional leaders in the communities that they serve. According to Abram Sitole, they have no political powers and exist to provide information to government on the people's needs.
Traditional leaders operate in terms of custom and customary law. Municipalities operate differently from traditional leadership. So the two systems, though you are able to bring them together, but are quite different. For instance, traditional leaders will not be in a position to withstand what is happening now in the different municipalities and in Parliament. At the moment, the responsibilities of traditional councils is to make information available to government, meaning if there's a need, a certain need of the community, that traditional leader with the traditional council must approach the municipality, provincial government or national government to provide that service.
Meanwhile, the bitter fight amongst the traditional leadership has created suspicion that the one faction is being favored above the other by the municipality.
Due to political circumstances, the relationship with the municipality is not so healthy. Based on the reason of political issue, because most of the ANC members are the people who have been deployed into municipality, and most of them are the people who are on the side of the Lions, and most of them are the people who are at municipality. So now we don't have that right to go and represent people at the municipality.
The list of non-delivery of services in Mabaloka is endless. Under the traditional authority, the area also has no proper road network, piped water or sanitation, a basic need for a community of 70,000 people. But surprisingly, just across the main road from Brits, the people living under the municipality say they have better services.
We are at the Ward 5 Mabaloka. We don't fall in traditional authority. We fall under Madibeng. We have many developments in Mabaloka. We have a library, we have a post office, we have RDPs, and then all of them are working.
The Congress of Traditional Leaders says for too long traditional leaders have been disrespected and undermined by the ANC-led government and are unable to tap into resources to improve the lives of the poor.
Today we are sitting here with 22 years of democracy. The institution is still, at the situation where you cannot be proud of it. The situation that we are in it, despite that we are, administering traditional council. Those traditional council are not enjoying, the benefits that they were supposed to enjoy, which amongst other to be allocated the budget from the fiscus of this country. They don't get those budget.
Years after the Solomon Lyon Primary School wrote letters to the municipality, the mayor says a bridge will now be built as part of her plan for the area to assist the children to cross the river on their way to school.
There was never a bridge. It was just a road just an access road that allows them to go to school. Immediately after those storms, we started to put the bridge project in our IDP, because remember it wasn't in our IDP. We want to build a strong bridge in that area so that it should take some time without collapse. So it's in our IDP. We are going to do it through our municipal infrastructure grant.
We will find out from the school later in the year if the mayor has made good on a promise to the community. As the divisions in the ANC structure become apparent, it appears the traditional support base may be at risk. At a 3-day conference in Johannesburg late last year, the Congress of Traditional Leaders threatened to withdraw its support for the ANC and form their own political party to contest elections.
Now is the moment for African traditional leaders to reclaim and restore their powers in society. The NGCs resolved to establish a task team to research and investigate the formation of a political party that uphold African values and heritage.
Whatever the outcome of the court's final decision in the leadership battle of Mabaloka, the Tajwa and the Lion factions will eventually have to put their differences aside and work together to improve the lives of their people. But until the government clearly defines the exact role and powers of traditional leaders, it appears this state of affairs is bound to continue.
The proceedings of the Fees Commission has once again been disrupted.
We as a university do not feel that fee-free higher education currently is feasible.
This is a Mickey Mouse commission. During in the commission, student grievances we're not a part of the commission in the program. So that is why we tend to disturb the program.
If you tell me that I can't leave, then you are keeping me hostage.
Some students demanded that UCT lift the suspensions and expulsions of certain students.
One of the key things that you have there is preservation of the teeth, so that when you can function, you can chew your food. And if they are not taken care of properly, you can lose them.
The most common infection in the mouth is on the tooth. Right. And it's dental caries or tooth decay.
That prolonged contact of the sugary substance, being juice or was in contact with the teeth for a long time, that's what causes the children to have what you see as rotten teeth.
We have a method that has been developed at VETS, which is called Appropriatech, which allows the person to have dentures delivered in a very quick and simple manner.
Join Health Talk every Saturday for all your health news.